Solo Command picks up shortly after the conclusion of Iron Fist and continues the adventures of Wraith Squadron and their exploits against Warlord Zsinj. The Wraiths have been transferred to the Mon Ramonda, which has been relocated to Coruscant to receive repairs after the extensive damage it incurred with the battle against Iron Fist and Razor's Kiss. While debriefing Admiral Akbar, Piggy is able to interrupt an assassination attempt by a Twi'lek lieutenant. The Gamorrean is injured in the attempt, but he is able to save Akbar and required only a brief Bacta treatment. Once the repairs are completed, Mon Ramonda returns to Zsinj space to continue hunting down the Warlord. Wraith Squadron receives word that they will now be operating in an official capacity alongside Rogue, Polearm, and Nova squadrons. Now that both of Wedge's squadrons are together, it is announced that he will be returning to Rogue Squadron and turning command of Wraith Squadron over to Face Larrick. The first stop on their newest campaign is Levion 2, where Zsinj has set up a trap. He brings in 3 fleet groups to destroy Solo's battle groups, but they are able to escape and do significant damage to Iron Fist in the process. Afterwards, the members of the Starfighter groups begin analyzing and discussing the recent battle. They determine that the overly cautious Zsinj must have figured out Solo's response pattern. The only solution, they reason, is to use his confidence to set a trap, using the only bait that could entice him: Han Solo himself. While the bait plan is being worked on, Wraith Squadron follows the only other lead they have, a biomedical facility on Sapphilor which has ties to Zsinj. The Wraiths go in as a commando unit, with Rogue Squadron flying cover in order to find what information they can. Unfortunately, the Warlord had anticipated the facility would be targeted and installed further countermeasures to take out anyone who tried to raid the facility. The Wraiths fall victim to these countermeasures, but their quick thinking and ingenuity allow them to escape, though not unscathed. Several of the Wraiths suffer severe burns due to having to detonate a bomb within an incinerator that had been activated to burn them alive. During the ensuing escape, the Wraiths happened upon the head of the facility, Dr. Etta Gast, and managed to capture her. During the intervening time while Wraith Squadron, which has been reduced to only 4 flight-ready members, is recovering, Min Donas and Lara Notzel begin to develop a romantic relationship. At the same time, Face is beginning to pick up on small idiosyncrasies and knowledge a woman with her alleged past should not have. After an odd interaction in a museum where she is mistaken for someone else by an elderly man, Face grows suspicious and begins doing some research. In their next mission to the planet Jusufet 4, a world that was under attack by Zsinj's raptors, 2 more Twi'leks, one with Polearm Squadron and one with Rogue Squadron, turn on their allies. The Polearm pilot, Nura Taulan, attempted to fire upon an unshielded Mon Ramonda, but a warning through the Force gave Tyria Sarkin enough notice to warn the bridge. She was forced to kill the pilot. The rogue pilot, Taldira, attempted to kill Wedge during the mission, but he was ultimately killed by Corran Horn. During the attack in space, a Twi'lek assassin in the ship attempted to kill Dr. Gast. Nawara Vind, who was present at the time to question her, was able to foil the attack, but faked its success to throw Zsinj off the pursuit. After the Jusufet 4 mission was completed, the Mon Ramonda received a message from the Imperial Star Destroyer Agonizer requesting a meeting on behalf of Admiral Terran Rogris, Han Solo's counterpart with the Empire. Han elects to send Face to meet with the Admiral. Face arrives at the Agonizer and finds the Admiral to be very pleasant, with the 2 men developing a nice rapport almost immediately. Rogris, who has been tasked with eliminating Zsinj by his superiors, has an unorthodox proposal for Solo: join forces to defeat the Warlord, and return to their fight later. Face carries the offer back to Solo, who accepts it. A wave of assassinations and assassination attempts rocks the New Republic, all being carried out by aliens in trusted positions, indicating some kind of brainwashing plot. Unable to determine the markers to identify the brainwashing, the New Republic is forced to remove all the currently evidenced groups, primarily Twi'leks and Godals, from active duty. Meanwhile, the Wraiths pursue the baiting idea mentioned earlier. They purchase a near replica of the Millennium Falcon, dubbed the Millennium Falsehood, and work to make the resemblance even greater. Once finished, they begin to carry out their mission: to fly the Falsehood into planets near Zsinj space, making sure they are seen by several officials, and then flee. While all this is happening, Zsinj's work crews have meticulously collected every scrap of the destroyed Razor's Kiss, which is refashioned into the Second Death, and his scientists are working hard on a nightcloak system that will obscure both visuals and communications. During the next mission to Kidra 5, things slowly fall apart. While waiting for the mission to begin in earnest, Face begins reviewing some transmissions he had received prior to departing. One of them had the information he had requested concerning his suspicions about Laura. To his horror, He discovers that she is not Lara Notzel, but in fact is Gara Petithel. He scrambles to figure out the best way to handle the situation. He does not believe her to be an active threat, but he must operate under the assumption that she is, especially with the rash of assassination attempts. Unfortunately, his interaction with her tips her off to his suspicions. The two of them talk about her true identity, with Lara maintaining her loyalty to the New Republic and Wraith Squadron. To his horror, Face realizes that he had mistakenly switched over to an open channel to talk with her, meaning that the entire New Republic force heard it all. Min, realizing that she was responsible for the massacre of his first squadron, flies into a rage and tries to kill her. The attack is diverted, but Lara refuses to be taken into custody. She reaffirms her loyalty to the squadron both in the past and the future, and escapes to hyperspace. Lara, realizing that she has very few options available to her, goes to Zsinj, claiming to have been gathering intel the entire time. Zsinj, eager to get any advantage in his war with Solo, accepts her back into the fold. Unbeknownst to him, she begins working to sabotage Iron Fist by using her R2 unit to reprogram utility droids to do its bidding at the appropriate time. Lara analyzes the data Zsinj has on the falsehood's appearances and concludes that he will next appear at either Vahaba or Comkin 5. Zsinj decides to send forces to both, choosing to send Lara to Comkin 5. The New Republic forces, on the other hand, must come together to determine whether or not Lara will betray them to Zsinj. After considerable conversation, they decide that Lara was a loyal member of the squadron and that their plans are still secure. Taking this risk, they decide to continue the falsehood ruse, electing to go to Comkin 5 next. The Wraiths run the falsehood protocol at Comkin 5 and are met by a dreadnought, the Reprisal. Zsinj's forces release a squadron of TIE interceptors, with Lara flying one alongside Baron Sunterfell. During the mission, she fires on the falsehood. Min, who is manning one of the guns on the falsehood, is about to return fire when Squeaky, the Wraith's droid quartermaster who is flying along with them to translate for Chewbacca, orders them to allow Lara to continue firing at them. The fight continues for some time until the New Republic commanders conclude that Zsinj will not bring Iron Fist into the system to spring the trap. They flee. Afterwards, Squeaky explains that Lara had modified her TIE laser cannons to transmit a message to the falsehood, delivered in small bursts with each volley. Squeaky has put the message together and provides it to them. Lara explains to them that she has worked herself into a position to sabotage Iron Fist's hyperdrive, stranding the ship in one place and allowing Solo to destroy it. She recommends Vahaba. Finally, she sends a message to Min, apologizing for what she did and telling him that she wishes she had been someone different, so they could have given their relationship a chance. She tells him goodbye. The New Republic commanders conclude the information is good and prepare to travel to Vahaba. Solo sends Face to meet with Rogris to ask him for an interdictor cruiser. Solo moves his fleet to the outskirts of the Vahaba system and sends scouts in to look for Zsinj. Upon spotting Iron Fist, Solo jumps his fleet into the system, assigns 2 Star Destroyers to protect the interdictor stellar web, and launches everything he has at Zsinj. Once the alert of Solo's arrival sounds, Lara prepares to deactivate the hyperdrive. At the last moment, another alert is announced. They are caught in a gravity well where there should not be one. Solo has an interdictor. Lara holds off on deactivating the hyperdrive and develops a new plan. She has her R2 unit remove a nearby star from the star charts and slightly alter the ship's destination to bring it within the gravity distance of the star. Once the star rips the ship from hyperspace, she would deactivate the hyperdrive and alert Solo as to where Zsinj can be found. The two fleets batter each other for some time, with Solo trying to destroy the Iron Fist and Zsinj trying to get away. At the climax of the battle, Zsinj sacrifices 2 of his capital ships to force Stellar Web to break the interdiction field. Iron Fist jumps to hyperspace, and Lara engages her plan. Suddenly, Iron Fist is yanked out of hyperspace early near an unknown star. Navigation has no identification of the star, has no evidence of the star existing. Further, the hyperdrive is shutting down systematically. They have been sabotaged and are stranded in this unknown system. Suddenly, a message begins broadcasting from the ship. It is Lara Notzel. She informs Han Solo that Iron Fist can be found at Salagas, with its hyperdrive disabled, and requests that he bring his fleet to destroy it. Zsinj realizes the dangerous position he is in and orders the hyperdrive to be repaired as quickly as possible. He moves the ship into the debris field of a nearby planet to hide. Solo receives Lara's message and directs the fleet to Salagas. The fleet arrives and begins searching the system for Iron Fist. The ship is found, and Solo brings the entire might of his fleet to bear against the stranded Superstar Destroyer. Meanwhile, Lara discovers the victims of Zsinj's biomedical experiments, as well as the information on the brainwashing program plaguing the New Republic, and sets out to rescue the victims and gather the information. She frees the subjects and escapes the ship in her X-Wing. Wedge catches sight of Baron Sutrafel in the battle and falls into a dogfight with him over the surface of one of the planets in the system. He manages to shoot the man down, and Wedge goes down to confront him, hoping he can give some information about his wife, who happens to also be Wedge's sister. He is shocked to find that the pilot is not actually Fel, but an actor hired to impersonate him. Fel has never worked for Zsinj. It was all a ruse to get inside Wedge's head. Suddenly, an enemy TIE interceptor swoops in to kill Wedge before he can take off, but Lara comes to the rescue. She manages to kill the enemy but suffers damage to her ship and crashes. She is assumed dead by Wedge. Technicians restore the hyperdrive, but Zsinj sees that he has been beaten, leaving only one option remaining to save Iron Fist. He engages his second death protocol. The Night Cloak is engaged, and the second death is flown into the cloak's field. The second death contains the wreckage of the Razor's Kiss, repainted to match Iron Fist. Zsinj directs Iron Fist into the cloak as well, while he leaves on a shuttle. After everything is ready, the second death self-destructs as Iron Fist jumps to hyperspace. The Night Cloak is dropped, revealing what looks like a destroyed Iron Fist. Zsinj contacts Han and congratulates him on his victory before jumping into hyperspace himself. The New Republic has won the day, though a significant portion of their victory is a ruse. In the aftermath, Solo's fleet group is transferred back to Coruscant for refit. Wraith Squadron receives some unexpected, though not totally unwanted, news. They are being disbanded as an X-Wing unit and repurposed as a commando squad within New Republic intelligence. Over the course of their short career, the Wraiths demonstrated themselves to be far more useful outside of an X-Wing than in one, raiding facilities, stealing information, and masquerading as Imperials and pirates. All the Wraiths accept the reassignment except for Min, who is a fighter pilot to the core. He is transferred to Rogue Squadron. And finally, Han and Wedge receive a message from a Kearney Slain, which contains all the information on the brainwashing project that had been plaguing the New Republic. The voice profile is an unmistakable match for Lara Notzil. Wedge has the information sent to Min, and Han has the message scrubbed from the records. Solo Command concludes the Wraith Squadron trilogy and serves as a nice ending for the major characters. It moves quickly and contains some nice twists and turns that will keep you on your toes. The trilogy as a whole gets better, tighter, and more focused with each entry. While this is the end of the Wraith trilogy, we will see these characters pop up again periodically in the future, so this isn't goodbye for them, but rather until next time. With Zsinj's defeat at Salagas, the largest of the warlords has been beaten. The sizable territory he held will be gobbled up by the New Republic and Empire as they continue their war with each other. However, Zsinj is still alive and he was able to secretly preserve his Superstar Destroyer. Han will return to Coruscant in victory, but Zsinj still has some surprises left for his enemy. Solo Command is a great book. The final confrontation with Warlord Zsinj awaits us in the courtship of Princess Leia. Thanks for watching.